I thought this was pretty funny. The big promise of the Republican Party was they're going to get to the bottom of all of this Hunter Biden stuff. Now, remember, the Hunter Biden laptop stuff was suppressed, but now it's supposedly not suppressed. And I still don't know what it is because there's no there. I mean, Hunter Biden, effed up dude, has had substance abuse problems, a problem apparently with, like, you know, sharing dick pics and, you know, problems that you see with individuals in our society all the time. But in terms of our government, in terms of corruption, what has there been? Well, let's bring on James Comer. He is the government oversight chair. They've been doing all of the Yeoman's work on all of this Hunter Biden stuff. They've been holding hearings, explosive stuff here that Comer has. Here it is.
So as chairman of the House Oversight Committee, you have been investigating members of Joe Biden's family and their business with the Bidens. Have you found anything illegal while he was actually in office?
Well, we found a lot that's certainly unethical. We found a lot that should be illegal. The line is blurry as to what is legal and not legal with respect to family influence peddling.
Family influence peddling. I, for one, am very much in favor of a society where we do not have nepotism, where people do not trade off the names of their powerful parents or brothers or sisters and cash in, like the idea that, like, my father-in-law could be president of the United States and I would get billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars in loans to save my business. That would be nauseating to me. Or if my father was, let's say, president of the United States and I had huge licensing deals with China or something like that. Yeah, that would be bad. Or if I'm Hunter Biden and because my last name is Biden, I get put on, you know, the board of directors because the company assumes that I've been hobnobbing with all sorts of, like, important people and those connections are valuable, which is exactly why people get put on boards of directors all the time because of their networking and their connections. Do I think it's unfair that famous people's or people who have famous parents get stuff like this? Yes. And I'm glad the Republicans are finally cracking down on this. But it is hilarious. It should be illegal what they did. What did they do? Well, Hunter Biden got hired for stuff because his last name was Biden. I agree. I don't know if we can make that illegal, but we should definitely be living in a society that isn't based on connections. Legacy admissions into colleges and all sorts of things like that. But it is hilarious. This is the stuff, incidentally, like, this has been the animating factor. This laptop has been the animating factor for an entire political movement. Everything. It's why supposedly Donald Trump lost the election in 2020, because we didn't know the exact contours of Hunter Biden's private parts. Here's Comer now, who obviously wants to get this Hunter Biden laptop information out there at all costs because it is so damaging to the Biden administration. He wants to get it out there. He's going to disseminate it everywhere except for anywhere.
You just mentioned a lack of transparency, and I'm wondering because Jamie Raskin on your committee has accused you for a lack of transparency, not sharing information, not sharing the Hunter Biden laptop drive with him and other Democrats on the committee. As you well know, House rules mandate that all evidence is shared between both, the majority and the minority parties. So what do you say to that? I want to give you an opportunity to respond.
Jamie Raskins has got to be joking. I mean, he's led 2 impeachments of Donald Trump. He was on the January 6th committee. He didn't work with any Republicans. When
so
we
have
do
you given
subpoenas,
him the
pause it. Hold on for 1
laptop?
second. That's not true. There were Republicans on the impeachment committee.
Just ones he didn't like.
Just ones he didn't like. In fact, the Republicans on the impeachment committee, they practically made them chairman of the committees, right? I mean, Lynn Cheney.
Yeah. Kinzinger.
Kinzinger. I mean, like, my God, why do even I know Kinzinger's name? And they offered to, they offered to share with all the stuff. It's just they didn't want to participate in it. But this is the Hunter Biden laptop. Why wouldn't you disseminate this area? Release the laptop.
Jamie Raskins has got to be joking. I mean, he's led 2 impeachments of Donald Trump. He was on the January 6th committee. He didn't work with any Republicans. When
So
we
have
do
you
subpoenas,
given him the Hunter Biden laptop drive? Have you let Democrats see that?
everybody has the Hunter Biden laptop. Right? ABC has it. The Washington Post has it. The New York Times
So you
has
haven't
it.
given it to him. Okay.
Well, he can get it himself.
And
The truth will out. I mean, this is the drop dead information that every single day we have to be told that because this stuff wasn't released, now everybody has it. And what's the story? What's the story?
He can find it.
Like, where's the story on the Hunter Biden laptop? Where is the information? Hunter Biden sat on the board of a subsidiary company that sold their shares to I think it was a Chinese outfit after the majority stake owner sold all their shares, which basically prevented the minority stakeholder from owning any of the shares, and so they sold it. Like where's the story here? There is no story. It's fascinating. And it's also, I have to say, this is the only time I've ever seen it work. Like at one point, like the reason why you hear no substance to the Hunter Biden story, or even pretense of substance to the Hunter Biden story, is there is no substance at all to the Hunter Biden story. The only story about the Hunter Biden story is about how after the Post supposedly got it and wouldn't share it with any other news outlet, so no news outlet could report on it. They certainly, it's not like the New York Post is considered like, I wouldn't stake my reputation on repeating what the New York Post says. I would want verification. Usually in those instances, they'll share the raw data. They wouldn't. And so nobody trusted the Post because they wouldn't share any of it. And it turns out, with good reason, because there's no there, except for the fact that somehow Hunter Biden lost his laptop. And we're told this is the earth-shattering story of 2020. It's fascinating. And it's worked in the sense that, like, good. We don't see wall-to-wall coverage like we did with like Benghazi for 8 months, 2 years.
Which almost makes me feel like either the salience or the action, like I'm wondering if it's the salience or the lack of information that is more the reason for that there being a lack of saturation in terms of like the media coverage. Like I'm wondering if it's more that it doesn't play with anybody or doesn't play with viewers, or if it's just like there's so little there that it's not even worth trying to probe, or even because honestly, even Fox anchors like Bill Hemmer, I think, had Comer on and literally was like, this has been investigated for years now. At this point, there's been no evidence. Like, even they're sort of frustrated with the lack of, like, anything to peg their coverage of the last.
I think that probably a lot of it is just like, Hunter Biden going, Dad, can I have like 10 grand, please? and Biden's like, sure. I have a feeling that's like what it is, and I think it all just makes Biden look sympathetic, probably. I have no idea.
He's like a good father to
I have no idea. Kid, yeah. Or just a guy who's like, his son's messed up. His son had a messed up childhood, loss of a mother, loss of a sister, ended up losing his brother. I mean, I don't think that makes Joe Biden, you know, some type of, you know, saint, or his politics are good because of it. But in terms of like electoral politics, which is all they care about, it probably makes him look sympathetic. I don't know.
Totally.
I don't know.